So I am sitting in my podcast studio here at the tail end of day one of our Iconic Influence Bootcamp. And I am just fired up about what today brought: the community, the collaboration, the feedback, the energy. I mean, it was just on fire. And I wanted to take a minute to kind of decompress and feel the feels. But I was thinking that this would be a really great training to share with you, my podcast listeners, who are really thinking about these things right now and maybe weren't at the right place to sign up for 5 days of training with me this week, but are thinking about things like, I want to create a strategic plan in 2021 to create iconic influence in my business, in my life, in my marketplace. I want to do my brilliant work and impact more people. I want to make more money and have more cash on hand. And I want to have more time to do the things that I love. And essentially, that's what this bootcamp is about. And so I want to share with you this episode. Obviously, if you didn't attend, a lot of this won't be, some of the things that I'm saying during the training won't be relevant for you, related to the logistics of the training and workbook and the things like that. And the obviously live comments that I'll be responding to. But I think it would be valuable just for you to be a fly on the wall, to hear my 4 pillars of iconic influence and really what it means to build a foundation for your business and life that is capable of creating iconic influence in any economy. And in particular, as we are in a position to accelerate out of 2020 and into a truly epic and memorable and sustainable 2021. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and I would love to hear your feedback on creating iconic influence. Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm, and I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon for some of you. Welcome to Iconic Influence Bootcamp. I am so thrilled to be here with you today. We haven't had a boot camp in months, and I cannot believe that while it's still 2020, we are so focused on getting our butts into 2021. Welcome. For those of you who are just coming in, as you're joining me, please comment in the chat and say hello. I want to make sure that we are totally interactive today and that we make this not just another webinar, but truly an experience for you. And I'm sitting here as we're getting ready to go live and chatting with my team and thinking, let's take a deep breath and look back at really, truly what has happened in 2020. It has been an unprecedented year. And I'm almost tired of talking about the pandemic. I'm almost tired of talking about what happened in 2020. And I'm officially going to put a stake in the ground today and say, this is it. This is going to be the last day that we're going to talk about what has happened to us in 2020. Today is our day to now turn the page to look at what we can create, who we can become, what kind of creativity and ingenuity we can pull up and take into 2021 together. Good morning, Chelsea. Thanks for joining. Yes, I'm so excited to see everybody here. Deandra, hello, Jessica. Hi, ladies. So I can see all of you who are in the Zoom chat. I'm so excited to have you here for Iconic Influence Bootcamp. I tried to create a little winter wonderland here for us to really mark that it is holiday season and we're looking forward to this. Like, we're ready for a new year. And as I'm looking at some of the names and some of you popping in, And I know these faces and these names because I have been part of this journey with you. And I know that many of you here have had an epic 2020 in a really positive way. And for those of you who are coming in here thinking, you know what, I really want to figure out my plan. I want to develop a strategy. I want to have a blueprint in place because 2020 has been too crazy. It's been an unprecedented year. Well, you're totally in the right place. And I totally get you. And I want you to know that I have a very unique perspective. And I know you're here because you're in my camp and you agree with me that while it's been turbulent, while there's been economic upheaval, political chaos, riots, I mean, it's truly been a year we can't even put a label on. It's not the first time that we as human beings have faced adversity. We are resilient and we know how to overcome these trying times. And it's particularly with us all together here, banding together and collectively deciding that we want to reshape and reframe the way that we go into next year. We can do this together. And I remember 4 years ago, some of you knew me back then. I went to bed one night and my house burned down. Like 911, you're one of those people you don't really truly think like a fire would happen to you. And it did. My house burned down. I had to rescue my kids. We had to run out of the house. And I remember thinking that night when I went to bed, there was not a single fragment or thought in my imagination that I would wake up the next day and not have a house. And it truly was a blessing for me to go through that experience. I had to move out for a year, rebuild my home, tried everything I could to keep my kids' lives intact and, their systems and the things that they're used to in place without trying to kind of cause too much chaos in their lives. And I look back and the tools that I built as a human, the adversity I was able to overcome and that tenacious spirit that experience developed and instilled within me, I truly believe I've been able to tap into that to step up as a leader through this year. And I want you guys to shift your perspective to come along with me so that as we're developing our plan together, as we're looking at what we're here to accomplish, which is not, by the way, survive COVID bootcamp. This is truly Iconic Influence Bootcamp for a reason. I want us to be thinking about what we can do, who have we become, and how can we tap into that person to truly create iconic influence in the world. So many people are just joining in. So welcome. We have registrants from all over the world and from different industries. And many of you are in your practice right now, tuning in with your ear pods, probably hearing me like vibrate and blast your walls because I'm so freaking loud. And some of you are busy working and you're joining us now for a replay session at 5 p.m. today, or even on your own time. And I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me today. There's really only one resource that we have at the end of the day that is truly limited, that we cannot make more of, and that is our time. And I know that if you're here with me today, I have so much respect for you, and I so appreciate your desire to really create a plan to make a significant impact in the world, in your practice, in your business, and to do it together with us in partnership. So really quickly, I'd like to welcome my team as well. So we have a couple of our KLC concierges here who are going to be helping you through this experience over the course of the next several days. Shannon and Ashley, and you'll see them in the chats both in Zoom and also on Facebook, and they'll be there for you for whatever you need. First order of business is your Iconic Influence 18-page workbook. You're welcome. I'm sorry, and you're welcome both. I'm sorry to the trees. I am a firm believer in learning, not just through osmosis, as some would say, right? Just listening, because you could go to YouTube for that. You don't need to tune in and listen to me blast your ear off, right? You could go to YouTube for that. You're here to make a marked difference and a change in the way that you're doing business. So I've created this here for you. This workbook is to be your guide through this process. So we're going to go through this step by step, and you can fill out the notes in here. And then there's homework every single day. And by the way, there is not only a benefit to you for doing your homework, because this is actual strategic planning work that we do with our private clients and our academy clients that you're going to have access to. But we will also be incentivizing you for doing your homework, and there will be rewards every single day. So first of all, the big prize at the end of all of this is we will be giving away a 3-month scholarship to our Pop Leadership Academy that's valued at $8,000.
And if you earn the most points, you win that scholarship. And so let me tell you how you can earn points and make huge impact in the way that your business operates by doing the work, by participating, and by actually submitting homework and being a part of really this experience that we're trying to create here through this bootcamp. So number one is show up live. If you show up live, those of you who are here and you let us know you're here, you're going to get a point just for being here today and tomorrow and the rest of the week. So show up live and you get credit for it. The second way is to be participating on the live. So answering questions, giving us feedback. Let me know that you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So that I can communicate and teach in a way that's resonating with you guys. So again, this isn't a YouTube experience. This is an interactive Iconic Influence Bootcamp. So I want to see you here. I want to see who's here, and I want to be chatting with you all. The third way to earn points is to take a screenshot of either your session here today or you doing your homework or your notes or workbook or something about this experience, hashtag Iconic Influence, and tag me on Instagram or social media, Facebook, and you're going to earn double points for that, okay? Because we want to spread the word here. And we want to make sure that you guys are part of bringing in the energy and getting other people involved in this really great experience. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Yola. So good to see you all here. The next way to earn triple points is to do your homework and submit it to your concierge. So that will be either to Ashley or Shannon or to myself, depending on who you're specifically assigned to, but you're going to turn in your homework. We'll be connecting with you after this session to answer any questions as you're going through it. That's where the work is going to be done, you guys. I want to see pen to paper, taking notes, and actually going through the real homework every single day so that we can build one session on another and continue to layer on this really good knowledge that you're not just going to learn, but be able to implement into your practice. So those are some ways, and we'll make sure that we put a post up for you guys later to remind you how you can win points. But let's give you a quick first opportunity to earn a point today. Tell me in the chat, what are you looking to get out of today? What is your number one goal out of the bootcamp, this experience? And I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Facebook so I can see some of your great chats in here. So what is your number one goal? Many of you over the last couple months as we've been planning this bootcamp have been telling me, you know what? I really want to put together my strategic plan for 2021. I want a plan. Give me a plan, right? How many of you had a plan? Raise your hand if you had a plan in 2020. Okay, because I know I had a plan. Exactly. We all had plans, right? Creating the plan, having a plan is so important. But let's be real, folks. And I'm going to just give it to you straight because I love you like that. And I have so much respect for you. The plan is not the problem. The problem with the plan is the unrelenting discipline to stick to that plan and to execute and implement that plan in your practice. And so what I want to do with you today is not just give you a plan. We're going to have a plan. Like the plan is the easy part, but I'm going to share with you really the holistic perspective of what it's going to take to make that plan a reality in 2021. And like I said to you, I promise you, I'm not going to be talking about that pandemic or if this closes or that closes. This plan is going to be a resilient, bulletproof plan that is focused on shoring up the foundation of your business, guiding your strategy, regardless of what turns and pivots this freaking year, next year throws at us. Because we're going to focus on the core principles that are going to drive your business forward no matter what. So those of you who have listened to me before and you know we have the POP Leadership Academy, POP stands for Practice Optimization Principle. And what that means is that it means shoring in the foundation of your practice and focusing on the things that are going to help you become successful regardless. So if you think of a palm tree, I just went to Hawaii and spent a couple weeks there with my family, which was wonderful. And I was laying there soaking up some of the sun and I'm looking up at those palm trees, and those palm trees, they take a lot of turbulence. They take winds and rains and all kinds of things, and they grow so tall and they don't fall over. And I'm thinking, like, if I was that tall and skinny, there's no way I'd be able to stand up, right? Those trees have such a deeply rooted foundation that they are not going to wither. They're not going to fall. They're not going to just stop growing because of turbulent weather. They're going to continue to ride out the storm. And that is what we are going to do today. We're going to talk about today and through the course of this week. I've been going on just kind of opening up the intro for this boot camp for about 15 minutes here. And I want to go ahead. For those of you who are just jumping on and you don't know me, my name is Kaylee Lindholm, and I am the founder of KLC Consulting and the Pop Aesthetic Leadership Academy, where we help aesthetic practice owners and leaders build deeply satisfying, lucrative, freedom-based businesses that stand the test of time. And I want to kind of explain to you what that means and why I chose to create a boot camp and it truly a multiple day experience for you this week around iconic influence and what that means to me. See, when I talk about designing a business that is freedom based, what does that mean to you? Because when I get calls, it's very regularly routine calls with clients saying to me or prospective clients, Kaylee, I just don't have enough time. I need more time. Kaylee, I just don't have enough money. I need more money. And then when we start to really unpack and look at the layers of the business, I see an owner who is wearing 1,000 hats. I see a leader just put Band-Aids on problems, trying to keep things afloat, trying to handle a million curveballs coming at them all day long. And while they're scraping and clawing and really craving more time and more money and more affluence in their business, they're spending time doing things that are ultimately not producing an outcome for them. They're not catapulting their business and it's not producing results. And it's this really boomerang, this cycle of becoming really a high paid employee in your business versus a CEO of your business. And so when you're telling me, I'm looking at your comments here, I want to grow my business and my mindset, to have a fresh vision for the future, Jessica, change the culture as an outsider, build an all-star team, how to have epic growth in 2021 and stand out from my competitors. I mean, these are things I hear every single day, you guys. You are all in such great company. But I can tell you that in order to do these things, in order to create iconic influence in your business and your life, you're going to need 4 foundational pillars that truly, they're necessary. They're a requirement, and you're not going to be able to run a business by yourself. You're going to need to focus on these 4 pillars. Okay. So I'm going to dive in here to get started on our 4 pillars for iconic influence. So number 1 is capturing your dream client. So many of you will call me and say, Kaylee, I think our marketing system's working. I have patients calling me, but the patients who are coming in are not patients who recognize my brilliance and appreciate what I have to offer to them. They're draining my time. They're not willing to pay the high prices that we command in our practice. So the first pillar is to capture your dream client. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to talk to you about how to go about doing that, how to show up, position yourself in the market to attract that specific client. And I'm going to go over some very specific strategies with you tomorrow on how to go and find that client, how to leverage social media, how to leverage the marketing systems that you have in place to make sure that you are attracting the right type of client or patient into your practice who recognizes your brilliance, appreciates you, empowers you, and uplifts you. So the number 1 pillar is to capture your dream client. The second pillar is to stand out in a crowded marketplace. So I'm looking at some of these comments that you guys are sending to me, and you're saying, I want to stand out, right? So let's face it, a lot of us are in business, in types of businesses, and many of you who are on here listening to this session who offer a lot of the same things that other people do. You're in an industry or a niche or a specialty where some of the things that you have to offer are very similar to what other people offer. And so when that happens, it can become very challenging to stand out and be unique and be different. And let's face it, the top 30% of a specialty is going to capture the market share. That's why 80% of searches are done on Google. That's why 70% of rides are done on Uber, right? The market leader is going to capture the share of the business. But that doesn't mean that you have to be in a globally leading position or the biggest or baddest business. You have to be a category of 1. I know in my business, right, there's plenty of business strategists. There are plenty of practice consultants. There are more marketing consultants that I could see out there, right? You could just do a Google search and you could find 100 of me. But my people who work with me, they see me as the only choice. They see me as the only obvious choice for them. And that's because we have positioned ourselves and built systems and offers within the scope of our business that nobody else does. And so I want to challenge you as we go through this week. We're going to uncover and reveal what it is that makes you truly unique. What is your niche? What is your specialty? And what is your specialty within your specialty that you offer, that you do that nobody else can touch, right? That totally is just unique to you in a certain way and unique to your business. So we're going to talk about the second pillar, how to stand out in a crowded marketplace. The third pillar for iconic influence is to assemble an iconic team. And so I gave the example of a doctor who called me. This is not specific to one, but I regularly am asked questions about, look, I have built this business with my bare hands. And many of you are running businesses where your owner is also the operator of the business, perhaps a nurse injector or a surgeon or a dermatologist or a cosmetic injector, right? So somebody who is actually owning the business, but also operating within the business. And if that's the case, we really need to think about how to truly scale that. The only way to scale your business in a way that creates iconic influence to scale through your people or through money. It's either going to take money or it's going to take human resources. But just having people isn't enough. And I know many of you on here, because I've had conversations with you, you know that your staff means everything to your business. And to have iconic influence in your business, but also in your market, and for that influence and that reputation of yours to precede you, it has to come from an iconic team, not an average team, not a team that's showing up and clocking in and clocking out, but from a team who truly is aligned with your vision, who feels passionate about your mission, who wants to be a part of creating influence in the marketplace, and will think like an entrepreneur. Write that down. Iconic influence comes from a team of entrepreneurs, right? So team members who think about their position and their job as really they're owning that role. So the third pillar is to assemble an iconic team. And then finally, the fourth pillar is to design your profit blueprint for epic growth. And this is really where we start to take some of these philosophies around category of one leadership in our market and our brand position and how we're marketing to capture our dream client and how we're attracting iconic team members into our team. And then we're managing them in a way that we're mentoring them toward growth in their own roles. Once we have those pillars working and the momentum is going, then the next step, number 4, is to sit down and put pen to paper and take a look at these big goals that we have and actually write them down. So writing down our ultimately 2021 annual goal, or maybe it's your 5-year or 10-year goal, depending on, what your plan is. And then putting a plan in place to be able to attack those goals. And that happens through reverse engineering, right? So we take one big goal and we break it down into, okay, what do we need to do per month, per week? And looking at your people plan and your category of one marketing system, how do we now create activities each and every day, every hour, right? What sort of key performance indicators or measurables do we need to have in place for our team to accomplish the goals that we have? So like I mentioned to you before, the plan, I know you had a plan in 2020. We all had a plan. We all had a freaking plan. But why did we go off course? We need to put a plan in place with tactical, measurable steps and the people that can help us achieve those steps to get there. Now, it may sound elementary, but it has to happen, and it has to happen with relentless discipline and focus toward that plan. So as a pandemic comes, as riots and protests come, as we get freaking COVID, as our doors close, as all these things happen, we know what our ultimate goal is, and we can move and shift resources and be nimble and agile to getting to that goal. But that goal doesn't change. We're still headed toward that same goal. And our team knows it, and our people are excited and enthusiastic about it. And it isn't one of those things where I hope I hit this number and I hope Susie and Sally show up today in a good mood and don't banter around and have drama. That's not going to work. Okay. It's putting a plan in place where we know every single week, year, what we need to, in each role, what needs to be accomplished to get there. And so that's what we're going to work on in Pillar 4. So now I want to talk about 2 power strategies that are going to really drive iconic influence in 2021. So buying behaviors have changed. Consumers are spending a lot more time online. We know this. This isn't like, oh, thanks, Kaylee. You told me consumers are online. Like, yeah, I know. Get your money's worth today. We know this. Okay. So what are we doing about it? We know that just shopping online and going to e-commerce is one piece of it. How are we leveraging the way the consumer buying behavior and the way that our patients are interacting with us to lean in and capitalize on this opportunity? Like, oh, shoot, now everybody's online. They can't valet. They have to park themselves. There's a walk. They have to sit outside and call me from the car. We can have a party in the lobby. Wah, 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 wah. Okay. We're not talking about that anymore. What experience can we provide patients? How can we meet them where they are based on how consumer behavior has changed? So we know that an average consumer sees some 17,000 messages a day. They are being bombarded with messages. So just creating a louder system, just getting in front of them more times is not going to be enough. It's just going to be more noise. So we need to create a way to stand out, to differentiate our voice, to differentiate our message, to differentiate the way that we communicate with that patient so that they can connect with us in a more valuable way. So how do we do that? We do that by leveraging 2 power strategies, you guys. Number 1 is focus on relationships. Those of you who have really thrived through this pandemic and this year have, I'll tell you right now, done this well. And that means not just sending a monthly email when I decide it's time I want to put a promotion up and it's Cyber Monday and like, it's time for the monthly email. Let me sell you something, right? No, building a relationship and rapport with those patients when you're not asking them to spend money with you. So focusing on relationships by truly understanding and caring about the patient. I know. And some of you are like, Kaylee, I'm doing that already. Duh. Of course that we care about our patients. But are you truly putting systems in place and casting that vision and that philosophy through to your team so that every single conversation is focused around that relationship? I just recorded a podcast. If you listen to The Fierce Factor, please go and listen to it with Dr. Joshua Waltzman. He's a high growth client of ours, board certified plastic surgeon. And he echoed this specific point that he has grown his business this year. In fact, he's hit record numbers this year because of this idea of focusing on relationships with patients. And what do you hear his team say when you walk in? These are like type A chicks, right? These are females that are running the show there. And what are they going to say to you? Every single thing that comes out of their mouth is built around this philosophy of this is our patient and they are going to be with us for a lifetime. There is not, oh, did we book that breast dog? Did we book that? Did we book that? Right? It's how is that human being doing? How can we add more value and create a better relationship and better experience and outcome for that patient by offering more procedures, upsells, cross-sells, reactivations, right? Leveraging the database of patients that you may have. And maybe you don't have a big database of patients, but making the extra time and doing the extra little things, the handwritten notes, the phone calls, the follow-ups, the things that if your practice has been running on autopilot and you've been extremely successful up until this point, things are going to change. And maybe you're still coasting a little bit, but going into 2021, there has to be a system in place. And I mean that every single role is looking at and thinking about how they are going to add value and create a better experience and bond with that patient by focusing on that relationship. The number 2 power strategy is to lean in. And what do I mean by lean in? Well, I'll tell you, because I can see we have a diverse book of clients, right, of different specialties. And we even have some practice managers who work directly with us that are not even providers. We have providers in different specialties. But there's one set of nuanced skills that all of these leaders share, and that is their relentless ambition to become better every single day. On the contrary, Many practices out there have decided to cut back on marketing, to lay their people off, to stash their cash under their mattress, and to kind of wait out the pandemic. How's that been working for you? Because I can tell you right now, if I had been waiting out this pandemic since March, we would not be sitting here today. So leaning in with the focus on relationships, not being salesy and obnoxious, but leaning in on those opportunities to how do you grow cash, right? You don't grow cash by stashing it under your mattress. Now, there are areas where I do highly recommend cutting back on some frivolous things right now. I think we're going to need that. We're going to need to cash up in 2021. But making more money is another way to get more cash as well. And so being strategic about where you doubling down on some of the intangible things that are going to create this iconic influence for you, reevaluating back those 4 pillars. Are you investing in a marketing strategy, in a brand positioning strategy that is attracting your dream clients? Because if it's not, I'll teach you guys a little bit more about this tomorrow. But this is something I call the lead boomerang. You know those things, the boomerang, like you throw it and it comes back to you, right? This lead boomerang. So ring, ring, ring. Hey, Kaylee, we need help with a strategy to get more patients in the door. I got this ad on Instagram and it said, get 30 patients in 30 days or we pay you $30 or something. I don't even know what it was, right? Okay. Wow, that sounds really awesome. So you want to get new patients in the door. So your phone starts ringing. I'm getting these leads. How much is Botox? Well, it's usually $12 a unit, but I'm going to pay 10 or I'll go somewhere else. Oh, well, we just paid for this for you as a lead. So just come in and we'll just do it at cost, right? Like, okay, we'll upsell them when they come in. And then they show up late and then they complain about their treatment. They don't want to get the full treatment, right? I only just want a little because I'm on a budget. They get a little, they don't get the full outcome. Then they call you back. And then they're like, wait, you told me and I didn't get the full treatment. So now you're investing all this time and money to get these leads. But what are they doing? Are they making you more money and giving you more time? Or are they coming right back here and putting you in a place where now, shoot, that didn't work out. That lead, I gave a treatment, like I spent extra time with them. I tried to upsell. They came back. Now I'm treating them again. Now that lead is costing me money, right? So this is not getting me where I want more time and I want more money. I want to have more cash and influence and autonomy, but I'm getting these leads that are not qualified because I'm just simply focused on the lead acquisition. I'm focused on getting more patients in the door. So when I'm talking to you about leaning in, I mean leaning into the strategies that are going to differentiate your message and set you up to be a category of one in your marketplace. So focusing on relationships is going to help you when your team is thinking about the relationship with that patient and how you can add value for them. That is going to differentiate you in itself because that human being is going to feel like a human being. They're going to feel connected to you. They're going to feel like you have their best interest in mind. And so I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what you're doing to invest in those relationships. And if you're leaning in on the right things on these 4 pillars, putting yourself and your brand in a position to stand out and capturing your dream client and assembling an iconic team that can take the load off of your shoulders. Wouldn't you love to walk into your practice and your team is like, I'm imagining it like we're watching our Christmas movies now, like walking in to see Santa's elves and they're like busy working away. And they're like, oh, Santa, yay, you're here, Santa. Like, how amazing. Like, show up like freaking Santa. And, I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I mean that in a way that you are truly the CEO of your business doing what you love. You're going and handing out the presents, right? You're not busy doing the wrapping and the unwrapping and the fixing of the boxes. That's what we hire great people for, to do those things. And then to come and tell us, look, we're having a leak here and we're having too many boxes to fix, right? Or we're having problems here. And here's how I recommend we solve that problem. And I know there's some practice managers on here, right? And you think like this, you think differently than maybe some of your team members who are like, oh gosh, shoot, that happened. That sucks. Okay, well, what are we going to do about it? I think of this sometimes, like when I'm thinking about how we interact with patients and we talk about this like lead boomerang. If there's one thing that you guys can take away from this experience here, it's to understand that sales is a process of getting to know, like, and trust somebody. You don't just start to like want to buy from somebody right away, right? If someone asked me on a date, I'm thinking back 100 years ago, I met my husband in high school, which is crazy. And if he was like, hey, hi, I'm Chad, can we get married? I would be like, who, what? I don't know you. I don't know what you're all about. I don't know what your philosophies are. And I'm supposed to commit to you. Yeah, but I won this award and I'm on the football team and I'm the captain of the baseball team and I'm really smart. Great. Those all sound like good things, but other people are really smart and athletic too. Oh, but I look like this and my biceps are this size. And you're like, okay, fine. But who are you? How do I know that I can trust you? How do I know that we're meant to be together and this is the right fit? You need to show me consistency. Like I need to see you pick me up on a date a few times and then maybe the date will progress and then maybe we'll end up like engaged for a while and talk about things. But like, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. Like you can't just walk up and propose to me. What the heck? You guys are laughing like, duh, obviously, Kaylee, great story. But why do we do this in business? Come on, you guys. We want to get married. We want to like ask for a sale. Oh, hey, like we're running ads. Oh, let's run this Facebook ad because we have this best microneedling PRP stuff. It's the best. Like the outcomes are so good. So we're just going to run these ads and like tell the world about it. And then you're like, oh man, I'm getting these bad leads that are coming in. I don't understand what's going on. The ads aren't working. I've got a plumber, which does happen. This truly has happened to us too. We've run ads that you have to cast a big net. But have you done any nurturing with that lead? Like, do they actually know who you are? And then do they like you? Then trust. Every single transaction in human history is built around an exchange of trust. I trust you. And that can only happen taking a patient through this experience. And so we're going to talk a lot about that this week. And a lot of what these pillars are built around and these power strategies of leaning in and building relationships has to do with how we establish this unbreakable trust with patients. And it can be done quickly when it's done strategically. And that is how we're going to outsmart our competitors, because we're actually going to go in with a plan. We're going to understand our patients' problems and we're going to talk to the needs they have and position ourselves in the marketplace to be untouchable in a category of one. Now, what does this do for you? When you follow my system, you credential yourself, you show up as the expert. You are the expert every single time. So you're going to credential yourself so that somebody from the outside is going to know already who you are and what you're all about. It's going to establish and really shore in and hone in on this unbreakable brand loyalty. Think about a brand that you're loyal to. Like for me, it's funny. It kind of just happened that I got my first iPhone and then it was a Mac and then it was this huge thing I'm talking in front of right now, my desktop, everything's Apple, because they're innovative. Their brand promise is think different. They're going to think different. And I know I can trust and I know that they're not going to come out with 45 things. And then it's like, wait, who are you? What are you going to do? They're going to focus on their core competency and do it well. And so I'm going to trust them. And so you're going to establish, when you start to focus on this exchange of trust here, you are going to start to establish this unbreakable brand loyalty. That, my friends, is iconic influence right there. It's going to establish accountability. So your patients know what they're going to get when they come in to work with you to become a patient of yours. And the accountability works the other way. This is not accountability. I need Botox. Give me Botox. I need IPL. Give me IPL. I need boob job. This is not accountability. Accountability is a patient who is willing to invest more time and more money with you and be committed to their part of the plan toward their treatment goals, part of their long-term care plan. They put their skin in the game. They're accountable to the plan that you are creating with them in partnership because they trust you and they know that what you're offering to them is only in their best interest to get them the best result. So 3, accountability. 4 is human connection. This whole COVID meltdown, I can tell you more than ever, the most valuable part of what we've offered in our academy based on our feedback, like surveys and what our clients are saying, is just having that community, having a place to go where they have people that they can trust and connect with. They're craving human connection. And again, that goes back to evaluating how these buying behaviors have changed. But there are things that we can do that don't cost a lot of money. There are things like connecting as a human being. Again, going back to that power strategy of focusing on relationships. And then finally, we'll give you the ability, number 5, to attract higher value clients, clients who are willing to pay more for your services, who are going to appreciate you, who are going to be posting 5-star reviews for you because they think you're awesome. They know you are. And again, you may have a whole bunch of patients that are coming in that don't feel that way, or maybe you do, and they don't feel like they necessarily want to be advocates for you. And there's just certain ways that you can really dive into this trust piece and strengthen that bond that you have with them so that their loyalty is unbreakable and that they are wanting to go tell their friends about you and refer more organic traffic to you. Finally, I want to talk about, before we wrap up today, the way that consumers think about brands, as I've mentioned, has changed. The loyalty is fragile. Think about it. I don't know if my kids are going to have school tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to be in business. I don't know if these restaurants are going to be open or closed. It's very difficult as a consumer to put all your faith into one thing because you're feeling uncertain about certainty. You don't know what's going to happen. Just like you all are here with me because we know 2021's been totally oddly crazy and turbulent, and we want to put a plan together to have security going into 2021. But the practices who have struggled this year are not the ones who were thinking big, were thinking about the 5-year, the 10-year plans. They were the ones who had the plan in place and then made reactive decisions about how they were going to get to that plan or changed the plan altogether. We can't afford those people. Let's just lay them off. And maybe they weren't the right people to begin with, and that was a strategic move. But we're going to just cut back on the marketing. We're going to just cut this. Don't do that. What happens when you stop in your tracks and you don't continue to move forward and lean in? No progress happens. We're on a call this week with a client who was like, I can't afford to hire that employee right now. You can't afford not to hire that employee. If you want iconic influence in your business, if you truly feel like you want things to change, or you even want to keep things the same as they were, the decisions that you made in 2020 are not the same decisions that are going to get you epic iconic influence in 2021. They have to be different. Things have to change. And I want to encourage you to think about things a little bit differently. And for you to really get the most out of this week with me, and I'm going to teach you some things that I'm telling you will be game changing for you. If you actually go and implement these things that I'm going to teach you over the next 5 days, I can tell you right now, and call people who've been through some of our past boot camps who've actually done the work and executed on these plans. This is $1 million business strategy for you. But you can't do that by sitting here listening to me talk at you. I need you to get in here and do the work and make some decisions about how you are going to shift your perspective going into 2021. And I'll give you an example of how valuable perspective change can be. My first time going to New York, I was working for Bayer Healthcare and they sent me for a training program for 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, it's New York. It's going to be awesome. Went to Tarrytown and then took the train into the city. And I get into Manhattan and I had heard nothing but amazing things about New York. And there was trash and noise and lights and tons of people and maybe like an IHOP and a TGI Fridays and a couple random little pubs. And I was like, this is New York. Like, this is the New York people are all talking about. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't like I was making things up. I was literally seeing this as I'm sitting there. Okay. Anybody been to New York for the first time on the ground floor and know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you're in Manhattan and you're like, oh, okay, wow, that's crazy. So the next time I went out there, the end of the training, I had a girlfriend who is from New York. And she said, come with me and I'm going to show you around. So she took me up to her penthouse suite and we went up this elevator on the top floor. And I looked out that window and I'm telling you, breathtaking, iconic views, 360-degree views of Central Park, Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, you name it. Statue of Liberty. Like, what else is out there? I mean, it's freaking New York. It's just absolutely stunning. I couldn't believe the views that I could see. And here I was in the same city, the same girl, I had like the same clothes, like the same coat, the same everything. But my perspective of New York changed dramatically because of the vantage point that I had. Now, I want you to think about that analogy and how you could apply that to your business. We're in this now. This is cray cray. Like we're in the weeds. But what if you took yourself out of the weeds and you looked at this year as 1 year in 1 of 10? How would you act? What decisions would you make? Would you put up with Susie's bad attitude or not? Would you invest in that marketing strategy or not? 10 years down the road, what are you going to do? Who's that person? What's the vision you have for that business 10 years down the road? If you're making decisions and you're operating from a place of today, and you're not operating from a place and making these strategic decisions from that person that you will become in 10 years, you're draining yourself. Your business will fail. You will go backwards. I'm telling you right now, because I love you, I care about you, I have a lot of respect for you. It's time to either disrupt or to be disrupted. It's not one or the other. You're either all in or you're not. This may be polarizing for some of you, and this may not be the right boot camp for some of you. If this is offensive to you, again, mad respect, feel free to jump on another webinar. That's fine. But my people, the people who are here because they want to make a change and spend these 5 days with me and make this time, our time together, valuable, that's what we're here to do. And I want to help you develop a strategic plan that will 3x your profits. I want to help you develop a category of one position in your marketplace so you are the obvious choice, the only one that your ideal clients will come to. And I want to help you put a culture in place, a strategy in place, and systems in place that's going to attract iconic team members who are going to appreciate your brilliance, who are going to attract iconic patients, and are going to help you build a business that can run without you having to be in the weeds every single day. And so the final point on this is I'd like to challenge you to open your mind to a new perspective. And if you're willing to do that with me this week, we're going to have an amazing week. All right. So you have your homework in your workbook, and I want you to go through and start thinking about some of these things. We are here for you. Again, you can go to Shannon, Ashley, or myself, and we will walk you through. I need a little assistance. I'm thinking through this process in my homework. I need to go find this, or what do you think about this? You have some ideas, and we'll work with you. Okay. Can I hear a yes if you are up for a perspective shift and you're ready to go on this experience with me this week? Let me see some yeses. Awesome. Awesome. If you don't have your workbook, please put your email in the chat. Again, even if you're watching this on replay later in the Facebook group where we're sending this to you, we still want you engaging, and you're going to get points for commenting and engaging. Take a screenshot, share this, hashtag Iconic Influence. And I am so excited. I will see you guys back at this time tomorrow with work in hand. And we're going to actually award a most engaged from today. Tomorrow, there'll be prizes already. I love this. This is so much fun. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to capture your dream client. Okay, so you definitely don't want to miss tomorrow. Thanks so much, you guys, and we will see you there.
Listen, it is my mission to empower you to reach your full potential, to cultivate an extraordinary business that will withstand the test of time. And while 2020 has been a turbulent, disruptive year, I could not be more optimistic about the last stretch of 2020 because we're getting ready to kick off our new class of the Pop Aesthetic Leadership Academy. Perhaps you feel the level of growth you desire feels unattainable in this new era, or you're not sure the steps that you should take to get you there. Well, this Leadership Academy is our signature program, and it's a powerful leadership development incubator for practice owners and practice managers in the aesthetic industry, just like you. It's been developed based on tactical and practical wisdom I've learned over the last decade of mentoring, advising, and consulting with some of the continent's top aesthetic practices. And I mean physicians who have board certifications in multiple specialties, authors, podium speakers, many businesses already running multiple million-dollar enterprises. These are powerful leaders in our industry. And we are the only program on the market that focuses on teaching your team the systems, strategies, and skills to consistently produce 6 figures in monthly revenue for you while you focus on your craft. This is a group program where you will be part of a cohort of like-minded people who share your unique passion and ambition. Listen, if you're tired of wasting your time with courses, consultants, or relying on companies to help you grow your business that just do not get the big picture, this just might be the right fit for you. Our graduates are board-certified MDs, practice managers, administrators, practice owners, and leaders. And while they may have different job titles, they share a nuanced set of powerful leadership skills that have allowed them to elevate to the top 2% of aesthetic businesses. And for the month of December, we will be accepting applications for our January 2021 class. If you are ready to make your final transformation and take your business to its next level of success, you can head over to our website and apply at www.klcconsultants.com/PLA-info.